It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillos Dudes. Featuring Frank. And Jen.
This is Theme Park Thursday Live on a Friday. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank. For about 20 or 30 minutes, or we're going to take you away from all the live streams that are happening in MK and Epcot and the studios in the Animal Kingdom for the 50th anniversary, mostly MK, let's be clear.
Right.
And talk about the live stream last night. It was Enchantment. It happened. My early indications are that the reactions are not as strong as harmonious.
Yes.
Jen, is that how you felt?
I did feel that way. I was trying to do a search on Enchantment this morning on the social medias to see what people were saying. And yeah, I didn't see as much about it. I think, people are feeling a certain disconnect to it if they felt a big connection to Happily Ever After, which makes sense because I understand that completely as a wishes person myself. That's number one for me. So anything that comes after is always like, But I am interested to see. I see Lewis and Dr. Val and Nate and Jeffers. Good morning, everyone. Interested to see what you all thought. Did you watch? Are you waiting for tonight since it's the big night? Or did you watch it and you have some thoughts or feelings? Anyone angry about it? Let us know. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to comment and let us know as well. But I'll hold my thoughts for now. What did you think about it?
Well, first I want to say that we started this live stream and I wasn't even completely plugged in. The mic is like over on the other side of the room. So I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do a mic and not the headset.
Yeah,
maybe, possibly.
Either way.
So that's the big thing. And don't forget tonight, we are combining with Dashing Destinations. They will be in the Magic Kingdom. So we will give you a perspective of Enchantment that you might not see. So we're excited for that. It's the first time dipping our toe in that water.
Good morning,
I think
Ryan. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Steppers. Sorry.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The gentleman, the lady, the gentleman. And then following that, I'm sure we'll then recap everything for Theme Park Thursday next week. I'm sure there's going to be just so much happening at once. It's very overwhelming.
Yes.
Here's my initial thoughts. I'm happy that Christina Aguilera is going to have a residency at the Magic Kingdom, and she's going to sing every night prior to. No, is that not a thing?
I don't think that's true.
So,
can you imagine? Oh my God, I would die. Okay.
I mean, is it time to think about that we need performers doing residencies in the Magic Kingdom, like Vegas, not in Magic Kingdom, just in Walt Disney World in general?
Man, that would be really good.
I mean, that's really what we need in our lives.
Yes. Where's the Hey Disney? See, this is when we need Hey Disney so that the Disney execs hear us and it goes right to their ears. Yeah.
My second part after Christina is I really appreciate Chapek getting some FaceTime with Bob Iger there. And I was really more surprised that Bob Iger, if you're going to talk about personally connecting to your experiences in your speech, I just feel you have to personally connect to what you're talking about. Did you see the speeches or did you just jump right to the show?
I just went to the show.
Yeah, go back and watch it. And then the most awkward button push I've ever seen in my life. Like, let's rededicate. Great. On with the show. Here's my initial thoughts, right? A lot of people on social media yesterday seemed to suggest that Harmonious was too Magic Kingdom. Like it was more like a Magic Kingdom show than an Epcot show. And
Right.
and everyone has feelings on both sides about that. We've moved on. A Whole New World and Epcot Forever proved that. This was the transition into there being a more Disneyfied Epcot nighttime spectacular, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was reading so many of those comments yesterday, it's specifically the ones that said it seemed too much like a Magic Kingdom show, my first thought was the Magic Kingdom show isn't going to feel like a Magic Kingdom show.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's really where I ended up. I thought it started well. I thought the introduction was well with the shooting stars,
Mm-hmm.
and and Lexi definitely mentioned it in our Discord. I totally missed Tinkerbell as well, so I was like, "Whoa, what happened there?"
Yeah.
And as it got into the show, again, similar, and maybe this is a live stream disconnect I was having as an audience member.
Right.
I felt the pacing and the rhythm and the music choices to not weave a story, I guess, as much as they're talking about telling these stories.
Right.
I didn't really get that. And as much as I love Moana, first Disney connection for the 5-year-old is Moana, forever ingrained in this household, Moana. And the Moana music, I felt, was the strongest choices in the majority of the show. I really was like, why isn't this in Epcot with the water effects when there's going to be a water attraction?
Right.
So I felt some inconsistencies, I guess. That's where I'll start, then pass it back to you.
Right. And there is Moana, right? That's how it kicked off in Harmonious. And I was like, oh, well, this makes sense because of the water feature. So yeah, I was also surprised to also hear it over here.
Yeah.
If I could just bring up a couple of comments so far. Jeffers felt 2 thumbs up and goosebumps.
Okay, great.
Steffers, terrible. Let's see. And Dr. Val said the lead up to Tinkerbell was definitely not as amazing as Happily Ever After. Ryan felt it was terrible. Let's see. More about, Tinkerbell feeling more like an afterthought, like Nate says. Yeah, okay, so because I'm Wishes is my number 1. So I'm already going in with a show me. I don't remember who said it here. It may have been Nate, or if I have that wrong, I apologize. But that it was a good show, but it's not a 50th show. Right. And that's how I felt. I thought that the projections are amazing. The fireworks are amazing. The 7-year-old felt, kicking off. He was like, oh, this is so much better than Happily Ever After. And he's been obsessed with Happily Ever After all summer. And I was like, wow, okay. And then he said it again. And then by the end, they saw Tinkerbell, they caught her. And then they, by the end, they were like, well, it kind of reminded me of Happily Ever After. It was kind of the same, which is kind of how I felt like this is a great show. I don't know that it's a 50th celebration. And I was wondering what's happening behind us, because we were told, all of Main Street is being lit up. And from pictures I'm seeing, maybe not the case, but I'm also wondering, is that being saved for tonight? Was last night more of just the preview, and tonight will be more with that? Will there be projections down Main Street? What's happening down Main Street? I liked it. I think my last trip to Disney has proven that there is potential for me to like a show more than I think because of the kids. Because years I was like, Happily Ever After. This did not make me feel anything. And then on the last trip with the kids loving it, I was like, all right, I got a little bit clumped at Tinkerbell coming out. Fine. So I hold hope that in person, Enchantment will have more of an effect on me. So far, I think it's a good show. But no, I don't have any kind of like feels with it, and I don't know if it was so big, but I also don't know if any of us have like an exact example. And if you do, in the chat or in comments or whatever, let me know. Like, what did you envision for 50th shows, whether it was an Epcot or Magic Kingdom? Because we're all kind of saying that, like, I don't know if it's 50th worthy and this should have been bigger. What does that look like? What does that mean? I don't know if I have that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think That was my other big point about it, was it didn't feel 50th worthy, and it is hard to make that determination in person. I just want to connect back to what Steffers was like. There were projections last night. Did you mean, Jen, that you didn't feel like they were clear on the live stream? Maybe I thought the live stream production could have been better.
And this may have been it too, because once again, like I did with Harmonious, I didn't watch Disney's, so I watched someone else's. So that might be the problem. So I didn't see the Main Street stuff. So that's my problem already, because once again, I was not up last night for these fireworks performances. So I watched this morning, and I just picked the first one I see. So maybe that's
yeah. And I think and. One is you have to be there in person. I think you can't truly judge until you are actually there, and because you don't know what might happen in that moment, what you might learn, what kind of, there's got to be, as the two Bobs were saying, trying to personally connect, that is part of that you can't get the Disney feels off the live stream.
No.
But it'll be challenging, I think, to see where that is.
Yeah. Okay, so Steffers, I agree with you. There should have totally been more nostalgia with it. And I felt like, first of all, I'm a big fan of Into the Unknown, but it was more of the current stuff again, which I feel like we saw a lot of in Happily Ever After. So you probably should have gone way back for this show and started from the get-go and kind of done this whole trajectory that has been Disney, whether in the parks or movies, and kind of combine that all into this nostalgic goodness for the 50th.
Right. I think it would be very easy for us to rant about it not being nostalgic. I think that's the path we could have gone down, right? It didn't feel nostalgic. And it's hard to say what did we need to feel nostalgic? You want to wrap in everyone. The kids, they want to hear Into the Unknown. They want to hear. So you got to have that part of it. But I agree, because as I play Monday morning quarterbacking, I'm like, did I want chronological? Did I just want everything to flow one another, better in terms of the music and the storytelling? Because I feel like almost should have brought the parents in with all the older songs that the kids recognize, the grandparents, and then the kids are still going to recognize that, and then bring them up into these newer songs that the kids would then have bigger reactions for, because those are their movies.
Yes.
So that is where I was with it. So it felt, again, it's a little bit of disjointedness watching a live stream. I think Harmonious in that way was stronger, I think, in just terms of they put the music out there more. There's, even with Out There and hearing the French version and the English version, I felt like there was a little more effort, even though yesterday I said they could have had more effort, but the Magic Kingdom show, Enchantment, just seemed like, here's a presented show. It didn't go for it. It didn't go big or go home. It didn't go for broke. It was Enchantment. And we'll also question whether it should, I said this months ago on Theme Park Thursday Live, back when we did it at night, it should have been called Happily Ever After, Enchantment. So you could just go back to Happily Ever After whenever you wanted, or expand it and grow it and make it an overall brand with different names.
Yep, for sure. And Lexi brings up how Epcot Forever had some of Walt talking. And yes, something to tie the past to the present. That this is, you would have had us with the nostalgia. You would have, Nate saying the lack of the Fab Five was going true. This was, again, more about the current movies and the princesses and the all the things that we've seen already in these fireworks shows and these projections. We needed a little something different, I think. I thought they were great. And that's kind of what I would say about Happily Ever After going from Wishes. It was a great show. There could have been something different, though, for the 50th than there had been.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the podcast this week after avoiding it for weeks, is that we finally kind of went into the golden statues a little bit. And you would think that maybe the golden statues would have supported the show. Granted, there's not a lot of Epcot statues, but they could have used that as a support, a yes and on top of we have all these golden statues. So this is what you're going to see in our nighttime show. And similar to Epcot, if they had more, then you would have gotten more Coco. Maybe you would have gotten, more Frozen over there. again, it's kind of that central theme that I keep seeking to connect to the celebration overall. If I'm going to put it out that way.
Yeah, there was no Mulan. That is ridiculous. Lewis, most people could care less about the past. How dare you, Lewis? Although, excellent photo here. Can we just look at this photo of Lewis? I'm loving that.
Yeah, it's a nice hat, Lewis.
Dare to suck, Enchantment.
Go for it. That's right. Dare to suck. There are people like Lewis and those feelings out there. But I think if you're taking, I'm going to take Papa Dillo as an example here.
Sure.
Right? On the surface, you would never think in a million years he cares about the past. That is just how you would think that he's just like, this is my day to day, and tomorrow will be another day, and I will go. But you put him in Disney World, or you put him in front of a TV with an old movie on,
or in a baseball field,
whatever. You should don't tell that story here. I will tell it on the resort next week. That it triggers the memories, and I think whether you feel that way or not, you have to assume that there's people like Papa Dillo who isn't going to expect that their nostalgia, that the past is going to be triggered. And that's why it should exist, because there are people like us that are going to be nostalgic. So yes, you got to have it. But then there's people who might not know it's inside of them. That to have that kind of connection to it, I think is really important.
Yes, for sure. I just have to interrupt. Lee, on board right now.
Oh.
On his cruise.
Yeah,
hello,
right.
Lee. Thank you
Hello.
for popping in. Enjoy that buffet. We can't wait to hear all about it. Okay, so Dr. Val, it is a big mistake. Disney cannot lose what makes it special, and that is nostalgia and magic and the feels. I am worried the current Imagineers don't get that. Skipper Bob. Garbage. Show is okay.
Right. I felt like the live stream had, and I'm sure Skipper Bob had the fine tooth comb over it, but when somebody like me can notice it and go, the cuts and the camera work. Yeah. You didn't get to see it, Jen.
I didn't see that one. For that reason. I'll have to look at that one instead of, who did I watch? I think I watched the Diz. I didn't watch Disney.
For the money, Nate Hardy. They do it for the money. I mean, I tagged Shop Disney on Twitter last night because every time they did like a close up of the castle and the 50th icon, the 50 there, and anytime that there was a character kind of inside the zero projected like to the side, I was like, you just need T-shirts of characters inside this 50th logo, and you will make so much money.
Yes, perhaps that needs to be something over at our T-shirt shop.
Would you want a 50th logo with Jen or myself inside there?
You know what we could put? Because I believe Mr. Snidillo one day at Mama and Papa Dillo's house took a photo of our silhouettes from kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
The black silhouettes.
Right.
And so he had been planning on doing something, perhaps 50th anniversary shirts with our silhouettes, which include my knob hair ties in it. I think you need that in the zero. Yeah. Let us know if you would buy those things.
Val's asking which channel is best to watch videos from this morning's openings. I don't know. I got Resort TV on over here right now, so it's in the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, they were on People Mover, and now they're in front of Dumbo, and I'm depressed.
Yeah. I would probably assume Resort TV. I mean, I feel like everyone's probably going to be there, except us. Everyone's going to be there, and tonight for Enchantment, you can tune in right here to watch.
Right here, courtesy of
Dashing Destinations. There are pins with characters in the 50. Oh, I see.
Oh, there are pins like that. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
See, we want the shirts too. I want it reminded me of not that the characters are inside it, but the Fantastic Four logo where it's just a four in the middle. But but with a character some kind drawn into it. I think I saw one with Hercules, right? Who did I catch? I caught Raya and Sisu. I caught Hercules, and there was one other that finally I was like, this is what they got to do. They got to have character shirts with the 50.
Yeah. Right. Well, it'll be interesting to see what unfolds today and what people continue to talk about and what are some interesting things maybe popping up, kind of like the monorail that we didn't hear about. Will there be more of those things popping up today?
Yeah, they had a new castle show this morning that debuted. So that was on there as well. So yeah, I'm sure you're gonna get these little hints and along the way. I try to think here what else I could wrap in before we go. So, me personally, and if you're just dropping in on us for the first time, I've never seen it before, and you've been watching this whole time, that fireworks shows historically. I got burned out working working in the parks. Like I just saw too many fireworks and I was kind of done for a while. So Sorcery in the Sky was always my number one show because I'm a movie themed guy. And so, Fantasy in the Sky was always nice. Illuminations, classic, as I mentioned yesterday, the 1988 version with all the classical music. I wonder why I work with classical music these days. So that's definitely wrapped in too. So Happily Ever After was really the first show that brought me back again because of those personal connections.
Yeah.
So like you said, the jury is still out of being there in person, I think, before rendering a verdict. But I think I was surprised in particular with the Magic Kingdom show that they didn't really go for broke, as I said.
Yeah. I just put this here to remind me because I feel like there was so much news happening yesterday too.
Let's talk about that.
I'm like, wait a second. So we have the Magic Band Plus. So Dr. Val saying they're going to interact with the 50 statues. This is interesting. And I want to see more and learn more about that.
The Galactic Star Cruiser bookings begin at the end of the month, the day before my birthday. It opens on March 1st. Someone who I know very well, who worked at the Renaissance Festival with me, was cast on the Star Cruiser. So I'm very excited for that person. Perhaps if you go through the archives of the Improviser's Guide podcast, perhaps there's an episode featuring this person. So that was really exciting. There were so many things yesterday that was like, we're
Guardians.
we're live, and now it's already out of date.
Yeah. Guardians is coming 2022, which we talked about on the podcast yesterday.
On the podcast, nestled in between the 50th and the 40th for Epcot.
Yes.
And I saw last night, I think they mentioned at the end of the live stream that this was an 18-month celebration. I feel like, maybe I just never caught it before. I felt like 18 months was the first time they said that out loud, but maybe it was in articles and I glossed over it. I skimmed over it, as it were.
Yeah. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, it's a lot happening here, but we thought we'd give this opportunity for people to get out their thoughts, for us to join together. I know Steffers you went to sleep, Jen, but Steffers was on me last night because she had a group together and she was mad at me that I couldn't join.
Oh, look what you did. Why can't you join Steffers' group?
Right. It was my phone had minimal battery left, so. I didn't want to. As soon as I went on, it would have been dead.
Yeah.
So. Well, don't forget tonight. Jen will be over with the Dashing Destinations crew, leading them.
You won't see much of me. Don't worry. You're just going to see Enchantment.
You're going to see Enchantment. So you can join us at 9 p.m. for that. And Jen, maybe we'll have different versions, different interpretations, different thoughts on Enchantment and Harmonious both next week. Because I think, are we going to get a Harmonious too?
I believe we are going to get a Harmonious maybe on Sunday night. We will have a live stream of Harmonious. Yeah. And there has been a request for something else. I don't want to say it yet. We'll announce that at a later date.
Yeah, so if things go well tonight, I think is really going to be how if it's smooth, then maybe we do Harmonious on Sunday night as well, and which could be interesting if it's a different location, things like that, to see an angle or so. Thanks so much for joining us in the chat. Don't forget to like the video so other people can watch along the way for this Theme Park Thursday, Friday edition, the morning after the Enchantment live stream. Until that time, she's Jen. I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces.